Hi, everyone. Ashley Mailloux, David Aragona taking a look at one of the stakes races on the undercard of Charlestown Classic Night out at Charlestown. It's going to go as race number 9 for $500,000. It's the Robert Hilton Memorial. 7 furlongs is the distance here for the 3-year-olds. And David, we were just talking about it's a field of 8. It's a little bit of a complex field to dive into for a variety of reasons, but you have the likes of Solitude Dude off of 103 in the Amsterdam, but he finds him in a spot where there's plenty of other speed.
Yeah, it's a really intriguing race from a pace standpoint because, like you said, there are a lot of horses that want to be forward. It's an intriguing race for Safi Joseph because he's got a trio of horses entered. It's going to be interesting to see if they all run. We did see prior to recording that our colleague Dave Gretting reported that Solitude Dude will run here rather than the H. Allen Jerkins on Saturday where he's cross-entered against Englishmen. So Solitude Dude, I guess, taking the path of least resistance. But in this field, Ashley, he does seem like the horse to beat, but he's one of many with early speed.
And you can't blame them. We mentioned it. $500,000 up for grabs here in the Robert Hilton. We'll kick it off here with the 1 Corona Deoro for Dallas Stewart off a second place finish behind Igniter in the Ellis Park Derby, where I felt like he got the right trip, David. I'm of the opinion he was in the right position, but the winner was just better and stronger than him.
Yeah, I think Igniter just ran better that day, and that's okay. I mean, Igniter is a pretty good horse who's kept some tough company along the way. He's a solid one-turn sprinter, got the 1.5-turn mile that day. So Corona de Oro, second best on that occasion. I thought he actually ran a little better two back when he won that allowance race at Ellis because he didn't break well that day. It broke about half a length slow, lost some position early, then had to make that move up the inside to win the race over today's rival Volendam. And that's the thing that kind of makes me interested in him here, Ashley, because you go through this field and it's hard to make the case that too many of these really want to pass horses. And at least Corona de Oro is the one that has shown he can do it a couple of times. So if this pace really heats up, maybe Brian Hernandez Jr. just takes him back and hopes to get lucky, and that could work out pretty well for him.
The number 2, Bravaro, kicks off the cavalry charge here for Safi Joseph Jr. as they're all drawn alongside each other. He comes off a second place finish at Colonial going a mile, and I find his past performances interesting to read because he wins on debut at 6 furlongs. He wins at a mile. They try to stretch him out. Doesn't work out, but he's typically further off of it. And now, since he's cut back to 7 furlongs and a mile, he's been involved in the race 2 back. I know he goes off favorite in the race at Colonial. You don't know if he's going to stick around, but Colonial is speed favoring. And, I thought he was at least very game last time out, even in defeat.
Yeah, actually, it's a little strange that they've changed up this horse's running style because, like you said, it seemed like he was doing well early in his career when he was just sitting just off the pace and making that run to the lead. And he tried some really tough spots after that, a series of Derby preps. Didn't even run that badly in the Wood Memorial 3-back. But it was so odd to watch when they tried to send him forward to duel with Skolko's Folly and the Mike Lee last time, when it seemed like there was a ton of speed on paper and he was the one that would be able to take advantage from coming from off the pace, but instead they sent him right into the teeth of the pace. It didn't work out. You also wanted to be on the rail that day at Saratoga. He wasn't, so I thought that didn't work for him. And then again, they were aggressive last time at Colonial, another pretty quick pace, and he actually outdueled the horse that was up there with him, but got run down by Sabino Kenyon at the end. I think he's run a little better than it looks now twice in a row, and I would imagine the connections have now seen that going to the front isn't really working for this horse, so I think they'll take him back off the pace here, and if they do, I know he can be successful in this kind of race from a stalking position.
And Paco was aboard last time for the first time out. I know folks think Paco speed rider, but he's also very good at allowing horses to find their rhythm. They go in a loose rein, and I do think maybe that would be the right move here with this one, so I have a feeling that's why he's booked again to ride. The 3 Solitude Dude will go back to the Amsterdam performance on July 31st. It was race 9 on the program, and there's some moisture in the track that day. In terms of this performance, I think it's a huge rebound from his prior effort at Saratoga. Comes up short, but the winner, Local Knowledge, I thought kind of tested him in the deep stretch here, and they both ran very well.
Yeah, this horse is going to be really tough to beat. And he's coming off an excellent performance where, yeah, he loses a tight photo to Local Knowledge, but that horse might be the biggest threat to Englishmen, the H. Allen Jerkins on Saturday at Saratoga. And, speaking of Englishmen, the only poor performance in Solitude Dude's past performances is when he tried to duel with that top sprinter in the country 2-back in the Woody Stevens. And obviously that didn't go so well for Solitude Dude. But other than that, he has been rock solid in these two, I should say, really all of his races, because he got even the 2 turns in the Fountain of Youth, didn't run that badly behind Commandment and Chief Wallaby. And probably that 2-turn race gives you some confidence that the 2-turn 7 furlongs of this Robert Hilton Memorial is going to be just fine for him.
The number 4, the final Safi Joseph Jr. runner in this field is Langford, a horse that was a nice winner last time out. We'll take a look at that performance in the carryback. I know it's not a huge field and it's outside of the championship meet, but this is a horse that I don't know. You look at the maiden score, it was fine. The buyer was light though against the Florida breds. I thought some really disappointing efforts, never knew what to make of him. And in his last 2, he's really come around.
Yeah, he was absolutely no match for his stablemate Solitude Dude going back to December and January. So what's changed since then? Has he just completely turned his form around? I guess he has, but you look through the recent efforts where he's been victorious, and the horses that he's beaten wouldn't exactly be contenders in a spot like this, to be kind. So he's getting a big class test here, and he's also a horse with speed. There's plenty of other speed in this race, probably faster horses drawn to his outside. So I wonder about the trip. He's 6-1 the line. For me, that's way too short a price on this horse.
Yeah, too short. I know he's gone off favorite in his last 2, but you start to wonder what has made the change in those last 2. I mean, the one thing I will say is a May full, so maybe it's taken a little bit for him
Mhm.
to develop. The 5, Ryan's Run. We'll take a look at his most recent performance, which he goes out here for Jeff Runco, who is no stranger to success at Charlestown, with most of the success coming at Charlestown, but a horse that kind of reminds us of the filly a little bit in the Charlestown Oaks. Runaway Wins has been the same thing here for Ryan's Run. And I will say at the top of the stretch, looked a little lost and a little green, but was able to kind of fix it and come back together here for a 10.5 length victory.
Yeah, the funny thing watching this horse's replays is that he's always running with his ears pricked forward. Like he's never fully extending himself, because you think horses that are running with their ears forward, it's like there's more to give. They're waiting on the jockey's cues, and even when he's getting asked, he kind of runs that way. So you wonder what's going to happen when he finally gets a serious challenge. That's probably going to happen on Friday night. How will he respond? Can he run a faster race? He probably needs to, but you watch his prior replays, Ashley, and you get the sense that there probably is more to this horse than what he's done on the racetrack so far. It's just a matter of what price he is. The horse in the race for the fillies, the Charlestown Oaks, she's 9-5 on the morning line. This one's 10-1 on the morning line. If he's a price near that, maybe he's one you want to play around with a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm certainly intrigued. And, you do have to question what was behind him in all 4 of his efforts. But I don't know. First time going 7 ace off of 3 consecutive 4.5 furlong events. And he didn't show any signs of stopping like he was going to. So he's a little interesting. We'll move to the 6 in here. Skolko's Folly for the Deoro barn off a second place finish in the New York Derby, a horse that had a win streak intact. Talk about easy wins. It was 4 easy wins in a row. I know he's speed, David, but I'm not convinced, if you go back through some of those past performances, that he really needs the lead. And I think that makes him slightly dangerous.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they play it here, because they have ridden him very aggressively in the past couple of starts. I mean, they were all out to get the front in that Mike Lee 2-back, but he broke from the rail. Now, this is a 2-turn 7 furlong race. He's drawn more towards the outside, so maybe they're going to be a little bit less aggressive here, because like you said, he has shown the ability to stalk and at least run pretty well in the past. Maybe his best efforts have come when they've been more aggressive. He is cross-entered at Saratoga on Travers Day in an allowance race. Notably, his regular jockey, Jamie Rodriguez, is named right here, not in that Saratoga race. So I don't know if that gives a clue as to where he's going to run, but he's definitely dangerous in here, Ashley. I went in a different direction, but I was kind of reluctant to leave him out because he is in great form.
A horse he could have claimed for $20,000 at one point in his career. The 7, Tab at Zanzibar. We'll take a look at the most recent effort, which came over a wet track at Saratoga in mid-July. And first time facing winners can always be a little difficult. And now, not only facing winners, but an off track. And once again, he was able to utilize his speed. I felt like, he gets pressed at one point in here, but he holds on to get the job done as the favorite.
Yeah, this horse has really done very little wrong. Even going back to his debut, his one loss, the horse that he finished behind was Sea Strike, who's going to be one of the choices in the Travers Stakes on Saturday. So he's kept good company. He's kind of improved a little bit in every start, but this is kind of a tough situation because he's drawn towards the outside. He's a horse that seems like he does his best running when he's forward. And to make the lead in this race, he's got to clear the likes of Skolko's Folly, Ryan's Run, Solitude Dude. So it's going to be no easy task for this horse. I think he's got some things working against him, but he does have some talent.
And we round out the field here with the 8 Volendam for Mike Maker. Ricardo Santana Jr. booked to ride. Was able to win on debut at Turfway Park, sprinting a maiden special weight event in late March. From there, they go to the Tessio, maybe with the eyes of the Preakness kind of behind that. And the Tessio, I don't know. To me, he tried to chase in second and he paid the price, was no good. He goes to the shelf, comes in here off a nice second, but he has to face the winner again, Corona Deoro, who drew the inside in here. And maybe it comes down to his running style that makes him a little interesting. But I think if you like him here, David, he's got to be a price on the tote board.
I agree, because at the end of the day, you don't know if he's quite this good yet. He hasn't run a speed figure that suggests that he is. There is potential here, like you said, debut winner, and maybe there have been excuses since then, a mile and an eighth too far, and then off a layoff last time. But I personally thought that Corona de Oro ran better with a slightly tougher trip in the Ellis Park race last time. So this horse still has some things to prove to me.
All right, field debate for the Robert Hilton Memorial Stakes. A really nice event here, going 7 furlongs. We'll move to our top selections. And I guess the question is, Solitude Dude on top, or do we try to beat him? And I think we're both getting a little creative here.
Well, I'm going with a Safi Joseph Exacta, but I still have Solitude Dude in the second spot behind the number 2 Bravaro, another horse for Safi in the race. Just think this horse has run better when he's taken a little bit off the pace, and I think they're probably going to do that here, given how much speed is signed on. And 7 furlongs seems like the right distance. He's proven he can get 2 turns, so I think he's a solid alternative to his more heavily favored stablemate.
And I'll go to the 6 in here, Skolko's Folly. We talked about him being sent in his races. I don't know if that'll be the strategy given the configuration in 7 furlongs on Friday night, but I did think he's at least game if forwardly placed as well. But there is a lot of speed signed on. I think we both have some interest in the local horse, the 5 Ryan's Run, who might be the value on the tote board. Very curious to see if he'll take some play. So we'll use that one underneath. 2-1-2-3-1-5, excuse me, for David. I'll go 6-3-5-7. It's race number 9 going to kick off that late pick 5 Friday night at Charlestown. Let us know who you like in this race or any of the stakes races. A very competitive program this Friday at Charlestown. Good luck.